The early hours of a misty morning saw Detective Aaron Hale, a broad-shouldered man with keen gray eyes and a weather-beaten face, standing at the edge of a deserted highway. In front of him lay a set of belongings strewn all over the asphalt, a rucksack, a water bottle, a map of the region, and a couple of novels. There was no sign of their owner, just like the other times. This was the fourth such incident in the last 3 months. Hitchhikers, usually travelers keen on soaking up the scenic beauty of the region, would disappear without a trace. The highway, which snaked through the picturesque Bluebell Woods, had become an unsettling enigma. While the woods were always quiet, that morning the silence was particularly oppressive, as if the trees themselves held the secret to the missing individuals. Their tall shadows looked like sentinels, watching every move of the detective. The cold breeze rustled the leaves, murmuring tales of mystery and melancholy. Detective Hale took out his notebook, scribbling down the specifics of the scene. Every little detail counted. He then took out a small Ziploc bag from his coat pocket and carefully collected a strand of hair he found next to the rucksack. He walked further down the highway, his boots echoing against the quiet morning. The past incidents were identical. There were always belongings left behind, right at the edge of the woods, just where the forest began its deep embrace. No footprints leading into the woods, no signs of a struggle, no traces of vehicles stopping by. It was as if the earth had opened up and swallowed these hitchhikers whole. Detective Hale then ventured into the woods, a decision driven more by intuition than evidence. The tall trees closed in around him, their canopy making the morning light seem more like twilight. He walked for what seemed like hours, but time always felt different in Bluebell Woods. Deep inside, he stumbled upon an ancient-looking stone circle. Each stone was nearly the height of a man and engraved with worn-out symbols. It was a place that felt out of time, with a palpable energy that raised the hairs on the back of his neck. At the center of the circle was a smaller stone slab, with a metallic object placed upon it. On closer inspection, it turned out to be a pendant, and engraved on its back was the name Eliza. Eliza, the name struck a chord. She was the second hitchhiker to go missing. Could this pendant be a clue, or was it just an unfortunate coincidence? Detective Hale carefully bagged the pendant, making sure not to disturb the surrounding area. He decided to head back to town, his mind racing with possibilities. The stone circle wasn't a documented historical site, and he had lived in the region long enough to know most of its secrets. But this place was different. As he approached the highway, he noticed a car parked by the roadside. A young woman, presumably in her mid-20s, with a rucksack slung over her shoulder, was peering into the woods with an expression of curiosity. Detective Hale approached her cautiously. "It's not safe here. You might want to move on." The woman looked at him with a smile, her green eyes sparkling with a mix of surprise and amusement. "I've heard the stories. But I believe the woods hold more beauty than danger." Hale felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen that very look in the eyes of the hitchhikers whose photos were pinned to his investigation board. It was the look of wanderlust, an undying curiosity, and a fearless approach to the mysteries of life. It was also the look that, so far, had led to an inexplicable vanishing. "Please, consider another route," he urged, trying not to let his anxiety show. She simply smiled, a whimsical expression on her face. "Thank you for the warning, Detective. But the heart wants what it wants." Detective Hale watched her as she began her journey down the highway, her silhouette gradually merging with the shadows of Bluebell Woods. A sinking feeling weighed him down, wondering if he'd ever see that young woman again. With more questions than answers, Detective Hale decided to delve deeper into the mystery, starting with the enigmatic stone circle and Eliza's pendant. Little did he know that he was about to uncover secrets that the woods had guarded for centuries. Detective Hale had set up a temporary base of operations in his old family cabin, not too far from the mysterious stone circle. Its wooden walls were filled with memories, and an old fireplace provided warmth against the creeping cold of Bluebell Woods. A large map of the forest was pinned to one wall, dotted with markers that signified areas of interest. The pendant, inscribed with the name Eliza, sat in the center of his desk. The symbolism on the pendant strangely resembled the carvings on the stone circle. Eager to understand their significance, Hale reached out to a local historian, Professor Amelia Barnes, known for her expertise on regional folklore. Amelia arrived at the cabin the next morning, her demeanor one of both skepticism and intrigue. After a brief introduction, she examined the pendant and the photographs Hale had taken of the stone circle. "These symbols. They're reminiscent of an ancient civilization believed to have inhabited this region long before our recorded history. They revered nature, particularly the woods, believing it to be a bridge between our world and another." Hale arched an eyebrow. Another world? Amelia nodded slowly. Legends speak of a dimension existing parallel to ours, accessible only through certain portals in the woods. These people, the Eldara, as they're called in folklore, were said to be the guardians of these portals. The stone circle could very well be one such gateway. Detective Hale leaned back, processing this. And the hitchhikers? Could they have unknowingly accessed this other dimension? Amelia hesitated. It's possible. If they were drawn to the circle and somehow activated the portal, they could have been transported elsewhere. Hale rubbed his temples, grappling with the enormity of the theory. We need to find a way to access this portal and bring those people back. Together, they decided to visit the stone circle at dusk, believing that the transition between day and night might hold some significance in activating the portal. As evening descended upon Bluebell Woods, the stone circle seemed even more enigmatic, bathed in the soft glow of twilight. Detective Hale and Amelia stood at the center, with the pendant placed back on the stone slab. Reciting an Eldara chant Amelia had found in her research, they waited with bated breath. Suddenly, the symbols on the stones began to glow, emitting a soft, ethereal light. The ground beneath them trembled, and a whirlwind of leaves surrounded the circle. The world around them began to blur and shift. The intense sensation lasted only a few moments, but when it subsided, they found themselves in a place that was familiar, yet eerily different. The woods were more vibrant, the colors more vivid. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy. But the most astonishing sight was the city that lay ahead. Towering structures made of what seemed like luminescent crystal stretched towards the sky, reflecting the moonlight in a million shimmering hues. People, or rather beings, with an ethereal glow and elongated features, moved gracefully between the structures. Amelia, her eyes wide in wonder, whispered, "The city of the Eldara." Hale nodded, his detective instincts kicking in. "We need to find the hitchhikers and figure out a way back." As they ventured deeper into the city, they found a large square where several human-like figures stood, seemingly frozen in time, their expressions one of awe and curiosity. Among them, Detective Hale recognized the young woman he'd met on the highway. The Eldara seemed to notice their presence. One of them, a tall figure with flowing silver hair and piercing blue eyes, approached them. "You are not of this realm," he intoned, his voice melodic yet commanding. Detective Hale stepped forward. "We're here to take our people back." The Eldara paused, studying them. "Your kind entered our realm out of their own will. We did not bring them here. However, they cannot return the same way they came. The balance between our worlds must be maintained." Hale felt a pang of desperation. There has to be a way. The Eldara considered this. Perhaps there is a way, but it requires understanding the true nature of the connection between our worlds. And with that, he began to unfold a tale older than time, a story of two realms bound by destiny. In the heart of the ethereal city, surrounded by the shimmering structures of the Eldara, the silver-haired being introduced himself as Lorien, one of the ancient guardians of the portals. He beckoned Detective Hale and Amelia to sit by a crystalline fountain, where the water sparkled with a light of its own. "The realms of the Eldara and your world were once one," Lorien began, his voice echoing with the weight of countless eons. "But a rift in the fabric of time and space divided them. The stone circles you found in your realm are remnants of the anchors that bind our worlds." Amelia leaned forward, her historian's curiosity piqued. "And the hitchhikers?" Lorien sighed, a sound like the soft chime of bells. "The energy of the portals is drawn to certain souls, those with a boundless spirit of exploration. The hitchhikers, with their innate curiosity and wanderlust, were naturally drawn to these anchors." Detective Hale's gaze was intense. "But why can't they return?" "Crossing between the realms requires an equilibrium. For every soul that enters, one must leave. However, no Eldara has ventured to your world for centuries," Lorien explained. Amelia's eyes widened in realization. "So, for the hitchhikers to return, someone from this realm must come to ours." Lorien nodded. "Indeed. But the journey between realms is perilous. Few among us are willing to take the risk." Hale's resolve hardened. "Then I'll stay. If that's what it takes to send them back, I'll remain in this realm." Lorien looked deep into Hale's eyes, seeing the determination within. "Your sacrifice is noble, but unnecessary. There might be another way." He led them to a magnificent tower at the city center. Inside was a vast library, its shelves filled with scrolls and books that glowed with an inner light. Lorien picked up an ancient scroll and began to recite an incantation. The air grew thick with energy, and the boundaries of the realms began to waver. Slowly, the frozen forms of the hitchhikers started to move, their expressions shifting from confusion to wonder. The balance can be maintained without a soul permanently crossing over, Lorien explained. Instead, a temporary exchange of experiences, memories, and emotions can suffice. You, Detective Hale, with your profound connection to the mystery, can be the conduit. Without hesitation, Hale nodded. Do it. Lorien's chant grew in intensity, and a cascade of images, emotions, and sensations flowed between Hale and the Eldara. It was overwhelming, a melding of two worlds, two histories, and countless stories. The weight of it pressed down on Hale, but his determination held firm. After what felt like both an eternity and a mere moment, the ritual ended. The hitchhikers, now fully animated, looked around in astonishment. Among them, the young woman from the highway approached Hale, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Detective Hale nodded, his energy drained but his spirit triumphant. "Stay away from mysterious stone circles," he said with a weak smile. With Lorien's guidance, they activated the portal, and the hitchhikers, along with Hale and Amelia, were transported back to Bluebell Woods. The stone circle stood silent once more, its secrets now known but still deeply respected. The disappearances ceased after that day. The highway through Bluebell Woods became a route of joy and wonder, with travelers sharing tales of the beauty of the forest rather than stories of dread. Hale, forever changed by his experience, often found himself standing at the edge of the woods, gazing at the stone circle. He felt a profound connection to the Eldara realm, a bond forged through shared memories and emotions. Amelia, inspired by their adventure, dedicated her life to documenting the true history of the Bluebell Woods and the Eldara, ensuring that the story would be passed down through the ages. The tale of the missing hitchhikers became a legend, a testament to the indomitable spirit of curiosity and the bonds that connect all beings, no matter the realm they inhabit.